Hello dears, welcome back to EDUHUNT video lecture series. In the previous session, we have discussed about the cerebrum, cerebral hemispheres and different lobes of the cerebrum like frontal, temporal, occipital and parietal. These are the 4 different lobes and we have seen some of the functions, and in this session we are going to discuss about the remaining functions of various parts of cerebrum. We have seen the cerebral part, one of the cerebral parts, that is frontal lobe, which is the center for intelligence, knowledge and also like what we call reasoning, thinking. All these are connected to the frontal lobe only. And let us see the functions of hypothalamus. Hypothalamus, it is the dorsal wall of thalamus or the diencephalon, that is the roof, dorsal side here. The dorsal roof of diocele, it is the roof of diocele and is called the epithalamus. Dorsal view, dorsal side of the hypothalamus, that is the roof of diocele, is called the epithalamus, and the ventral wall is called the hypothalamus. And the thalamus has dorsal and ventral surfaces, ventral sides. Dorsal side is called the roof of the thalamus, that is epithalamus, and the ventral wall is called the hypothalamus. And the lateral walls are called the optic thalami. So, for example, this is the dorsal, this is the ventral, and these are the from towards me and towards back side, that is lateral sides. They are called the optic thalami. And the hypothalamus of a typical brain has these many functions like osmoregulation and perspiration, and also thermoregulation, that is control of the temperature, body temperature. Osmoregulation is control of salts present in the body, and osmotic pressure. All these functions are under the control of the hypothalamus. And urge for hunger, we feel starving. If we starve, the feel will be given by this part, that is hypothalamus region of the brain, and the urge for hunger and even urge for thirst also given by the hypothalamus region of the cerebrum. And pleasure and love and hate, these also connected to hypothalamus region. And even sexual behavior, and then satisfaction, and that is satiety center we call it as, and carbohydrate metabolism and sleep. And this is the highest center of autonomous nervous system. And autonomous nervous system, we have seen that sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system, they constitute the autonomous nervous system. And highest center of the autonomous nervous system is the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus controls osmoregulation, perspiration, and urge of hunger and even urge of thirst. All these thermoregulation, that is the control of the body temperature, pleasure, love, hate, satisfaction, and sexual behavior, carbohydrate metabolism, sleep, and all these functions are under the control of the hypothalamus. And it is also governs the secretions of anterior pituitary through releasing hormones. Anterior pituitary gland is there. Pituitary gland, anterior part of the pituitary gland, it releases some hormones and it is under the control of hypothalamus. Hypothalamus, a region of cerebrum. And the thalamus is the relay center of the body, relay center that is discharging the signals and selects the information to be sent to the cerebrum. It relays the signals and select the signals which have to be sent to the cerebrum. This kind of selection is done in the thalamus part. It is the relay center. Remember this, relay center of the body is the thalamus region. And midbrain, we have finished the cerebrum part, that is forebrain. Now coming to midbrain, and in human, like other mammals also, there are 4 optic lobes. So these are solid without occipital, that is optocele. Optocele is the cavity. Here that kind of cavity is not there. These are solid and the condition is called the corpora quadrigemina. Quadri means 4. So the midbrain consists of 4 optic lobes. These 4 optic lobes are called corpora quadrigemina because there are 4 optic lobes and each is a solid one, that is without optocele. Optocele is a cavity, cele is a cavity. Optocele is like a cavity in the optic region. These are solid structures and the 2 anterior lobes are called superior colliculi and they perceive the stimulation of head and eyes. Okay, they perceive the signal, head and eyes movements like visual reflexes, like movement of eyes. This is under the control of these anterior lobes called superior colliculi and they perceive stimulation of head and even the eyes, movement of eyes like visual reflexes. 2 posterior lobes, they are called inferior colliculi. Inferior colliculi. Out of 4 lobes, 2 anterior and 2 posterior are there. The 2 anterior are called superior colliculi. They perceive the stimulation of head eyes movement, that is a visual reflex. And the posterior, the 2 posterior lobes called the inferior colliculi, they perceive stimulation of the movement of head and ear, that is auditory. Hearing reflexes. Hearing reflexes. That is the first 2 lobes, they get the stimulation regarding the movement and the movement of eyes, movement of head and movement of eyes. And the 2 posterior lobes, inferior colliculi, they perceive the stimulation of head and ear, that is auditory reflexes. Next part of the brain is the hindbrain. Hindbrain called the cerebellum. Cerebellum. So like cerebrum, the cerebellum also consists of the ridges and the furrows called gyri and sulci. And singular is sulcus. And it is differentiated into 3 areas. The cerebellum is differentiated into 3 areas, that is grey matter on the surface and the branched white matter, that is arbor vitae, called arbor vitae in the deeper parts. So in the surface area, the gray matter is present, and in the deeper layers, branched white matter is present called arbor vitae, and this is present, the white matter is present in the deeper layers. It coordinates the faster muscle movements and maintains the speed of locomotion, that is involved in movement, running, like that. As it maintains the balance of the body, and it is like unconscious activity, and it is also called a gyroscope of the body because it balances the body balance and locomotion, its speed. These functions are under the control of the cerebellum, that is the hind brain. Pons, that is the pons varolii, present in mammals only. These are present in mammals only, and controls the breathing. Pons control the breathing, and it has the pneumotaxic center, and also which is switch on and switch off of breathing. That is, breathing is under the control of pons varolii, which is only present in mammals. Pons varolii. Medulla oblongata. It controls the involuntary activities like involuntary breathing. Involuntarily we breathe. Intentionally we can't do it. Involuntarily, without involvement, we breathe, we respire, and even heartbeat also. We can't stop heartbeat. It continuously goes on. And heartbeat, breathing, and vasomotor activity, and peristalsis, that is seen in vasomotor activity is seen in circulatory system, and peristalsis is the seen movements that are seen in gut, that is esophagus, the peristaltic movements. And medulla oblongata has dorsal and ventral groups of neurons for regulating normal and faster breathing. Normal breathing and faster breathing. This is controlled by medulla oblongata respectively. The accelerator and depressor centers of medulla regulates heartbeat, the vasomotor action, that is, these are under the control of the medulla oblongata, and these are center, vasomotor center. Center controls blood pressure. BP is controlled by the vasomotor center. That is, I have mentioned that it is present in circulatory system. So what was vasomotor controls? The blood pressure, that is further under the control of the medulla oblongata. And medulla oblongata also controls some reflexes like coughing, sneezing, vomiting, hiccuping, ఎక్కళ్ళు రావడం, వాంతులు చేయడం, అలాగే తుమ్ములు, ఇవన్నీ కూడా దగ్గు, తుమ్ము, ఇవన్నీ మెడుల్లా ఒబ్లాంగేటా కంట్రోల్లోనే ఉంటాయి. కంట్రోల్ చేస్తుంది మెడుల్లా ఒబ్లాంగేటా ఆఫ్ ద బ్రెయిన్. And medulla oblongata, unlike other parts of the brain, has outer white matter and inner gray matter. Actually, other parts of the brain has outer gray matter and inner branched white matter. But in case of medulla oblongata, the condition reverse. That is, outer white matter and inner gray matter is seen. So with that, we have finished the structure of the brain and even functions of the brain. In the next session, we'll discuss in detail about the peripheral or the other type of, second type of nervous system, that is PNS, peripheral nervous system. Goodbye.